And so we should be live. Let's give it a couple of seconds. Let's wait.
Yeah, it takes time.
Takes a little bit of time, but it's okay. And all of a sudden, things around me got quiet because usually there is a lot of noise out there, but it's okay. Let's give it a couple of seconds. Yes, we're live. I can see myself. I can hear myself talking. Beautiful. How are you guys? How's it going?
Oh, hi. Good? Everything nice?
I want to apologize with those watching from home because Patrick had to cancel almost like last minute because of work, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, we're not going to talk to him, but eventually he's going to be one of the judges for the Life After Corona competition, which we're going to address in a little bit of time. But how are you guys? It's very nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations for your result with this competition.
Thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate that you put in the time to organize it and also like to collect the judges and all that effort that went into it. I guess it was not an easy job to do. I'm just really glad that I got to be part of that competition. It's not usual for me to enter any online challenges like that. That was actually my first. So
I'm very thankful that you say that, but I have to say, the judges were just as excited as me in, wanting to be part of this. And for me, this was very interesting because I was like, okay, maybe I'm the only one that wants this stuff to happen. But then people chimed in, and I have a couple of very interesting big names for the next challenges of people that want to be judges, actually. And I was like, okay, that's great. That's amazing. And so we're going to be able to get the perspective from very cool people that have been very successful in what they've done. But anyway, give me just a few minutes to say hi to the people that tuned in. Nigel, hey, what's going on, man? Nuno, how are you, man? Ranim, very nice to see you here. Would you guys mind taking a second, and I'm talking to those watching from home, to share this video so that people can join us in the conversation? Because I guess that this is a very special moment. We get to talk to two very skilled artists, and we're gonna try and break down the way they have worked on their project and the strategies that they've used in order to come up with these images. And also, like, go women. Like, this is the first time that I'm interviewing two women on the channel. I am a little bit intimidated. And Kristina was like the one that was like, oh, but is this going to be okay? And I was like, look, I am the scared one. But
yeah,
anyway,
because for me it's the first time, so.
But you did an incredible job, and we're gonna get to it. Dorka, the same. It's just amazing the stuff that you guys have done. Let me just open up the images so that others can see them. So Dorka, this was your image, right? And let me share my screen so that you can see.
Yeah, because we don't see it.
There we go. So now you should be able to see my screen.
Yeah, that's my bubble bath.
Yeah, I love this image. When I saw it, cool. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. We're gonna get to it in a second. Let me just show also Kristina's image because it's just as beautiful. There we go. Just fantastic. Look at that. Okay, guys, I have so many questions. Come again?
Okay. I just said that I really love the color scheme of this image that Kristina you did. It's just really, really nice and subtle.
Such a sensibility, like... Okay, who do we start with? Let's see, from home. Who wants to start talking first? Hi, Strainia, nice to have you here. Hi, Suriel, how are you? Very happy to have you guys here. Hector, you should probably change your avatar on YouTube, because otherwise I call you by your last name. Sorry. Hi, Guitar. How are you? Okay, so it's already a nice group of like 20 people watching this. That's very cool. Who do we start with?
I'm okay either way.
Dorka, you can. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, then
Kristina.
I'll start.
Kristina, how about you? The image is
Me?
already on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So, how it went? First idea was not like this. In the beginning, I thought to make something like these two guys standing and watching like a big spaceship is falling from the sky. But then I thought maybe it's too, I would say, too simple. I wanted to have a bit of more story. So that's why I thought, okay, maybe they can act a bit differently. And I remember this meme, maybe you know, where the boy is swinging.
Okay.
And there's a huge fire behind him.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, you know.
That everything
So,
it's okay. I burned the
everything
house.
is fine. Yeah. Everything is burning. But so I thought, okay, why they cannot have a picnic? So the idea just came, and then everything went very fast. I did like in one evening. And
One evening you did the image. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And okay, let me ask you, actually, before we start talking about the workflow, let's just do an overview of both projects, and then we just dive right into it, okay? Dorka,
Okay.
do you mind talk a little bit, make an introduction about your project? What was your thinking pattern? What were the things that were going through your head?
Yeah. Well, I read about the challenge, and I already knew that Star Wars has such a strong imagery and already a lot of amazing, atmospherical views. And somehow my first thought was to try to get away from that, because I didn't think that I could top that. I mean, there are so many amazing images done in that universe. So somehow, maybe because of the lockdown, but I immediately pictured BB-8 doing, chores like washing the dishes and stuff. That's where I started from. And then when I pictured that, I was like, whoa, washing the dishes, soap bubbles. And then I was like, why make him do something that's not fun? Make him do something that's fun. So I ended up doing the bubble bath, which I really like because of the BB letters. I don't know. It was actually like I started to doodle when I read your challenge, and I listened to the YouTube video. I started to doodle, and those were the little sketches that I drew. And then I was like, I was immediately set on this path that, hey, I'm actually doing a bubble bath. It was really clear.
That was super cool. That was super cool. I like the fact that both of you went for such a, I don't want to, controversial is not the right word, but like I would have expected the fact that a lot of people try to put the characters of Star Wars within the framework of what it is Star Wars, and a lot of people of course did that. But I love the fact that you guys said, you know what, let's just use the pop culture reference and make something completely unrelated. And I think that this was what made the judges go like, wow. And it's funny that this is a common trait for both of your projects that managed to qualify very high as finalists. Kristina, I have so many questions about your work because, like, the what is the name of the robot? Is not BB-8, the other one. This one is from the last episodes of Star Wars, right?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, but
I know that they are always together, but
did you
I
is
didn't
this
watch.
a photo montage? Is it 3D?
No, it's 3D. It's 3D.
Where did you get the models from?
It's from 3D Sky. It's very nice. They have very nice library.
Okay.
So also the spaceship behind them also is from the 3D Sky.
Do you
very nice.
do you prefer yourself working on a full 3D workflow?
Let's say no. I like more 2D. But this time I placed these main characters, also the picnic table and the spaceships in 3D, but the rest I made it in 2D.
And so basically the smoke and maybe a little bit of the environment as well?
Yes, everything is 2D in Photoshop.
Okay.
I really like Photoshop.
And in terms of like composition, what are some of the rules that you like to exploit or use when creating, you know, a visual composition?
Yeah, I really like the vertical images. I also like a bit not overcrowded, because I also had idea maybe to show the fight behind them, but I thought maybe it will be too much. So with this big smoke cloud, it's already quite dominant. So I thought just to show it in the bigger part of the image. And the main idea, of course, in the front.
It's crazy that you said, you know, like one evening to do this image. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's more about idea. If I have idea, it's very fast. But if I'm struggling with idea, then it's can go in a few days. But I don't like to work on the image like for a week, for example.
Yeah. Okay, so let me be picky. Do you really think the robots might eat cookies?
Can be.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about 3D, that it's magic and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Dorka, do you mind? Oh, sorry. What did you say?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Dorka, do you mind talking a little bit about the pipeline and the workflow that you've used for your own image?
Yeah. Well, usually I actually work a lot more in Photoshop than in 3D, because I'm usually working more on exteriors, and then, you know, matte painting the environment is just something that I rather do in Photoshop because I'm more handy with that. But with this one, it was such a small scene, and I did everything in 3D. Of course, I post-produced it. Like the raw render looks nothing like this in terms of contrasts and colors and everything else. And I popped the bubbles a lot in Photoshop. But everything, like the elements that you see, are all 3D. Oh, except for the text that says bubble bath on the top. That
okay.
that I did in Photoshop. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I also did Photoshop a lot on BB-8 because the model that I downloaded was not really good.
The one that I gave you?
The one that you gave me, I downloaded it and it came without textures. And I don't know why.
It just had colors, I guess.
It didn't even have that for me. I don't know what I screwed up, but it just didn't. It was like a white clay. I don't know. But anyway, I found in our library that we actually had BB-8 in one of the 3D libraries. So I used that one, but it was still not perfect. And it didn't look as cool as it looked on other people's images. So I actually pixel painted its head.
Okay.
Because I was missing those lines and I was missing those whole thing, and I couldn't find a model, of course, where he had his arm out. So those things I added in Photoshop to make it look cooler and better and tell the story better, because like looking at that bubble and trying to poke it with his little light, that was very important for me. So I spent a great deal of effort of photoshopping that to make it look okay.
I actually wanted to ask you about that, because it does look like BB-8 in the bat was actually matte painted and composited inside the image.
Well, a lot of it is rendered, but I had to work on it in Photoshop to make it look better, because I had smoothing issues, so like the surface of it was not nice, and I lost the little joint lines of how to put, you know, like how his head is like divided into, like, I don't know. Those little things I actually just pixel painted. But it's also a thing that my image is only 2K.
Okay.
I was trying to work fast on like a concept and like doing, I don't know, doing an image, I also did it in 5 hours. So I did not want to go into the trouble of making like a 4K render of this and waiting for the render. I thought that for the sake of this challenge, it's about the composition and like the idea that you have. So I thought that high-res renders are not required. And I couldn't find it anywhere in your introduction video and the render requirements, if it's ever there, to what resolution it has to be. So
I want I want people to make their own rules. Like, seriously, I think that this is a great chance for people to express themselves and just do whatever. And like, obviously I would expect a rendering big enough for people to show the things that they want to show. Like, I got a render from somebody that was like 6K, and I was like, why did this person send me this big render? And then I zoomed in, and I was like, there were so many Easter eggs, it made sense for that person, to send me a 6K render.
Yeah.
There was also somebody that sent me like 100 pixels renders. And it was a joke.
Okay, that might be a little too low.
It was a joke, of course, but it worked. Oh, I see that there is Jason actually watching. Jason, let me know if you want to jump into the conversation so that I can add you and you can be part of this. Just let me know and I'll call you right here on Discord. But anyway, before we continue with the project analysis, let me just say to the people watching from home, I launched this Life After Corona challenge, and this week I have prizes from the guys from V-Ray. They're giving away a 1-year license for V-Ray, any platform that you like. There is 100 euros worth of assets from CG Mood, and there is also a masterclass from Brick in post-production. Now, this is a masterclass that has been designed not only for beginners, but also for like senior artists. And as a matter of fact, it's not just a online course, it's an interactive class. So these are prizes that are worth a lot. And this is a little bit of a news, I still haven't got any entries for this challenge, which is weird because all the other challenges that I got by Wednesday, I already had, say, 5 or 6 entries. So I expect a lot less people to enter. Therefore, there are higher chances for you guys to win. So hurry up, go and watch that video, look at the rules, make an artwork, and enter this. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do the artwork. You have to, do what you please. The reason why I give these challenges away is for people to try and do something different, something that, they don't get to usually do at their job, at their work. And so, but if you're just doing it for the competition, I totally understand it. Don't miss the chance. And on Sunday, we're going to review the projects with the guys from Altshift. And I'm also looking for another judge. I still have to hear back from this person, but hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, sorry for this little interception, guys. I want to ask you, when you first saw the challenge, right? Did you feel a little bit hesitant to enter the competition? Did you feel like, what's the point of entering the challenge? I'm not going to win, and, maybe people are going to make fun of me. And I'm asking this because a lot of artists ask me the question, what's the point? I'm not going to win anyway. Or like, my work is not good enough. What can we say to those who have a little bit of like hesitation and don't want to do these challenges because they think that they're going to lose on their or they're not going to be good enough?
I don't think that it's a case of winning, let's say. For me personally, when I saw the challenge, I thought, because I'm on maternity leave, I'm not working now, and I didn't make any personal project for a while. So for me, it was very nice to try, because I have idea. It went very fast. So when I need to think from the scratch, because now I have a model, I have a team, and then I can start from that. And let's say, it wasn't like the question to enter or not. It was just for me to see what I am able to do with this concept, for example.
Which I think it's a very good way to go on about things, right? We don't do this for the others, we do it for ourselves.
No. Yeah, it's for ourselves, yeah. Just to see, how far you can go.
Dorka?
Yeah. I think for people who are like debating to upload their work online, whether it's a competition or whether it's just, a group of friends or an art group that deals with it, it's really good to upload it, because the feedback that you're going to get, either good or bad, it's gonna help you. It's gonna help you understand your images better. It's gonna help you, a lot of the time people give more ideas or more thoughts to what you already expressed on the screen, and you just take it more forward from that, or you just remember it, and the next time you start a new image, you already have that in your mind, and it's always a room for improvement there. And I think with this art field, it's really important to communicate. It's really important to get feedback from people, because if you're sitting, especially this time, sitting home alone, doing an image alone, you don't know what other people think of it. You don't know how they would react, and you would be very surprised. Like for me, it was an absolutely positive surprise. I was worried that people would think that, what am I doing soaking their robot in water? Like that's not the right way to go. And then I uploaded it, and I was really surprised and overwhelmed by the reactions that I got. But I also think that all the time, if you're working as a freelancer or working in an office, getting feedback from other people is always helpful. It's always really good to hear. Sometimes it's hard to process, for sure. And it's not an easy thing, because we are all emotionally invested in our images. We love them. That's why we do them. But it's a good thing. It's always a good thing to open yourself up and like be ready to take whatever reaction people can hand to you. So
100%.
I will always, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you guys one more question. If you were, and I don't know if you are, maybe you're busy and that's a good thing. If you were thinking of like approaching the next challenge, life after Corona, what would your thinking pattern be about this project? Give me a couple of things that go through your mind when you think about this task, because they might be inspiring for those watching and listening from home.
Yeah, I had the first idea. I didn't start with this challenge actually, but I had idea to make like everything is green. Streets are starting to be green because cars are not going and people are inside, and then everybody's coming out of their homes and just to see how. Yeah, but for me it's a bit tricky. I still didn't came with exact image in my mind, so I still didn't start it.
Dorka, what about you?
For me, that's a very scary challenge, because I think that like most people, we don't really know what will happen after all this ends, how we will go back to our normal life, if it's ever going to be the same or not. What are the long-term consequences of this? No one really knows. So this challenge for me, like, I started to picture, our future, and it got darker and gloomier. So I abandoned that train of thought.
Vito, no!
So I'm still trying to process and come up with something that could put a positive spin on this. Like I really like Kristina's idea, because that would show that actually we gained something from the coronavirus. We helped nature get back on track.
Yeah.
And
to recover.
thrive without our presence, which is great. So that's a very good message that I could stand by. But I haven't figured out my message. What I would love to be the outcome of the end of COVID. So I think that's why you're not getting too many images uploaded yet. It's because it's just such a bigger challenge in terms of like ideas and concepts. Because with VB8 and Star Wars, it was a small package. It's
Yes.
a small thing. Even with the car, there's not like there's not a whole ideology behind it. But with COVID. I think that's a lot of philosophy.
I know it's this was a very daring decision, but there was a lot of discussion about these challenges of people saying, okay, it's easy the way you're doing them, you're not giving a lot for people to think. And I was like, okay, let's experiment with something a little bit more conceptual. And probably I think that at the moment what it's happening is that a lot of people are really trying to inject positivity into their lives, because at a certain point, if you don't snap out of this situation with a positive mindset, it's going to come and bite you, right? Because it's how long can you sustain this situation where you look outside and you see no end to it? And so I think that there are, of course, a couple of more difficulties. Also, I told people try and collaborate with other designers, so work on artwork together, because this is also a chance for you to experiment and build relationships with other people. This is one of the things that I always say to designers to do. And so I think I gave too many restrictions, but I know that there are people working, because they're asking questions and they're coming back to me. I'm just very curious to see what the outcome it's going to be. But anyway, can I count on you guys trying to enter the challenge as well?
I cannot promise.
Kristina went like,
I am this deep in work, which is a good thing, but
yeah,
I
it's
am
amazing.
This deep. So this week for me is not ideal for doing personal projects. I'm happy if I get my work projects done. But I'll try. I'll try. I mean, it's in the back of my mind all the time. If I can come up with something, and that's something that's like snappy, and I can put it together, and it will still look good. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure this time, because it's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday morning. Well, I still have 3 or 4 days.
Don't worry, you don't have to justify yourself with me. And actually, the fact that you have work, it's great. It's amazing, because it means that you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. You have more important things to have to worry about.
It's actually something that I'm really grateful for. I'm working for Still Blue, and I'm really, really happy that as an office we are still very well functioning, and that's thanks to our bosses. So that's the place of advertisement here. Big cheers to Still Blue for that, for giving me a lot of work to do this week.
Give a big hug to O'Brien when you see him, and when you guys are allowed to hug again.
Yeah, that will be probably far in the future, but I'll definitely do it.
And what about you, Kristina?
Oh, now I'm at home, but I know the office also, they are working from their homes, because now I'm still, as I said, in the maternity leave, so I didn't saw them in 4 months, I think now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will come back next month, so we will see how situation will be.
Yeah, I'm just very happy to hear that things are starting to slowly move back and go back to normal, because it's for a couple of weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, things were looking really bad for a lot of people, and now things are starting to move. That's amazing. It's something that everybody's looking forward to, and honestly, me too. I just want to go back to walk outside and being able to live my life the way I want it.
Yeah,
But
to
anyway,
leave the cave, yeah.
I have one more question about your projects. Let me just go back to your project. Can you see? You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the most tedious thing that you did in this project? Like in this image, what was the most difficult thing that you had to do?
Maybe it was with the coloring for me. Let's say just to balance everything, the cloud, the sand, the with the robot and the spaceship behind, they have similar colors because I didn't want to add too many colors.
Yes.
Because I also had idea maybe to show these laser fights, but I thought maybe it will be way maybe too much. So yeah, I was trying to keep more or less blue and this sandy yellow colors.
Yes.
Just like a main. And of course you have this black color. So just to find this balance between all these, let's say, not to make too much, let's say.
Yeah. I really like it. I really like the color palette that you used here. It's so elegant. I don't know. Just so much talent. I wish I could steal it. Dorka, what about your project? What was the most difficult thing?
The bathroom design was to have as little things as possible, because I started to do the bathroom design and I started to clutter it with so many items and so many things and didn't feel right. So finding the balance of not having an empty bathroom, but also, trying to show only things that would fit there well and are Star Wars related, maybe coming up with like the design of the tiles of how to do it. I think I spent way too much time on there. I had so many versions of what colors, how to do the colors. Is it a good thing to do a mosaic of 3CPO and R2D2? Or so that was the hard part for me. I had the image in my mind, like the little doodle that I had to how to like divide the space and how to use it. Like here's the bathtub, here's BB. Those lines were very clear for me, but the details were definitely not. So I shuffled a lot with those, and placing the bubbles, I tried to place them compositionally, not randomly. So yeah. I got lost in the details for a while, I think, and I was like, at one point I told myself that I just have to stop, because I also have this rule that I think that an image can get to like the, I don't know, 95% really good, and then you can spend an exponential, like a lot of time on making it 96%, 97%, but that's the time that you don't want to put in, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Because the curve there is really not flat.
It's the Pareto rule, like do with 20% effort, do 80%, and then to get to the other extra 20, you have to spend 80% of your effort.
Yeah, so I stopped myself actually, and I was like, now I'm doodling with things that won't change the image in an overall, so that's the time to stop. So that finding the time to stop and getting everything arranged in a way, that was my my difficulty.
Like one of the things that I do when I look at the artwork of other artists, such as yours, I always try to really understand the idea behind it. And it's really like, a lot of people focus so much on the execution. They try to make the perfect material. They try to make the perfect type of smoke, whatever. But then you see things like this that give you the eureka wow moment, where you say, okay, I understand what's the message behind it. And delivering the message is so difficult. And when you do it with such simplicity, the image works, even though it might not be like 100% correct from a technical point of view. Would you agree with that sentiment or not?
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Because I'm not trying, maybe if I zoom in the image, there will be a lot of mistakes, but for me, most important is just to get the most out of little things. You know, it's not spending too much time of the, okay, how to make this cloth look perfect, or to make this material look perfect. It's, yeah, for me, I like to zoom out the image and just to see, okay, if the message is there, if the colors are there, if the composition is there, if the light is there. So for me, it's the main focus points, let's say.
Do you guys do a lot of like thumbnail sketches before going into a project, or do you rather look at things directly in 3D and try to work out with what the software gives you?
Me, sometimes yes, I'm trying to sketch, but yeah, sometimes it's very rough just to draw the line, maybe some colors, but not always. Let's say what comes to the personal projects, for me it's a bit, let's say, you need to think from the scratch. Like I'm working with the archivist, so the client already gives you the project, he gives you the location, and then to make image out of that, it's, for me, it's way easier than I'm starting on my own. Like,
Yeah.
I need already to create environment, to create, okay, the building or the object, and for me it's way more time to think from the scratch.
Yeah.
And then I have everything, it's, for me it's easier to look for solutions.
I get it. Dorka, what about you?
I don't like do sketches in terms of like sitting down with Photoshop or just hand drawing. What I consider sketches is when I have my file in an already pretty good shape, having some textures, not perfect textures. I never go for perfection. I go for making it look right, but that doesn't mean that it's perfect at all. So I got that working, and then I start to do very, very low resolution renders with atmospheres and colors and light setups, and then I Photoshop them, trying to get them to tell the message that I want. But it's only very low resolution. These renders are like 5-minute, 10-minute renders, and then they get me to understand what I'm going for. They also help me to, go around the whole project, look at it from every angle. And then when I have this sequence of like atmospherical thumbnail images, it's easy to pick the ones that speak better and louder than the others.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my process. I did that a couple of times, that I drew something, like sketch something in Photoshop. That was very interesting. Or also for this, like for personal projects, it's a funny twist on that I have a camera, which is like looking into nothing, and then you start to fill that space up with information. But it's not like that you have a model that you go around and try to place cameras around it. You rather have that one camera that, like, you don't have to point it at anything because you don't have anything yet.
Yeah.
So you start to put even 3D, kind of the process is like turned backwards, if that's the right way to express it. So that's a funny thing. I did that many times on personal projects, that I just looked at Max in the camera as a blank canvas and started to put 3D things there. So that's kind of the same thing, I guess, as sketching is. Just you're already sketching with volumes, and not lines.
I know already that some people would disagree with that, because some artists say when you use your hands and you use a pencil, even though it might be a Wacom, these happy accidents happen, and so the hand actually gives you that creative freedom that 3D doesn't give you. But I can relate to what you're saying, because that's most of the time what I do myself. Also because when I make a sketch, it makes people cry for how ugly my sketches are. They motivate a very negative response.
Can happen in 3D.
Come again?
I think happy accidents can happen in 3D as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I know it's a totally different approach and it's a totally different style, but sometimes for me it's easier to express what I want with the tools of 3ds Max. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's easier if I try to draw the lines just in Photoshop to keep them as simple as possible. But I think both approach is really good and can work. It even works for me on different projects, so you don't have to say that this is the right way to do it. You just, go with the
Guys,
flow, whatever feels better at that case.
guys,
I think there's.
oh, sorry, Kristina.
No, I think there's. I agree, because there's no one way. Like somebody's sketching, somebody's
Yes.
modeling. It's all the process. It's about.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I met and I talked to so many artists that say, I have zero abilities with a pen in my hand, and these guys make stuff that it's amazing to look at. And so, it's I don't know, people develop their own way of doing things, and if it works, why should you fix it, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because I'm very curious to hear your opinion. First of all, were you okay with the projects that made the final 5, or was there a project that you thought might have deserved a little bit more attention, or that you thought, oh my god, this project is so good, it's going to win? I don't know if you recall it. Like, now I'm sharing the best 5. I'm just going through them. You can see them on my screen.
I had one that I really liked, and I thought that it's gonna make it to the finals. The one which is like a tilted camera of a supermarket, and the colors are like orange and
from Angelo Cicatiello. Let me see if I can find it quickly. There it is.
Yeah, this one was very cool.
Yeah, I like this
somehow
image
thought
too.
that the composition really spoke to me, and it was like an unusual angle, and the colors are also like very graphic and not trying to be too realistic or something, and it really got my attention. So that's something that I really remember people uploading all their artwork, and I still remember this one. And I was surprised when I joined your YouTube channel. I was surprised that I did not see it in the top 10 or something.
He didn't even make the top 10. I thought that he did manage to get, but anyway, it's.
I'm not sure, but yeah. So this is one that I think would have deserved more attention.
This goes to show that, I mean, as much and as hard as the judges work on trying to find the best work, at the end of the day, it really comes down to the subjective way of looking at images, And honestly, like, I was blown away. Every single image that I was looking at, I was like, judges are going to have issues. Judges are going to have a problem, because it's like already for them to make the first selection of the 10 best work, it takes them like 2 hours, because obviously you have to go back and forth each single image, and you need to make your mind up, and it's really difficult.
Yeah, and everybody has their own criteria also, so I can imagine it wasn't easy.
Yes, absolutely. Kristina, what about you? Was there an image that you thought that deserved a little bit more attention?
I really like this bubble bath, actually. When I saw it first, when I saw it first, I thought it will go very high. Also really liked one like a painting. I don't remember who
I think I know which one you mean.
Yeah,
give
in
me
the forest.
Second. Yes, it was from
very vertical one, I think.
Yes.
I think it was. I think it on your screen lower. If you scroll lower, was it there? I don't. Yeah, now it's in the top row, isn't it? That one, the top row on the right second or left second. Sorry.
This one, yes.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. I don't know. For me, it's the composition and it's like a painting. I really like this kind of not super busy images, but like illustrations, but it's a more let's say personal taste.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this image is also stunning. Like, you know, who am I to argue with the quality of this image? You know, it's just beautiful. It's like looking at a impressionist painting, you know, and you see that things are done with like strokes, but there is enough definition to understand all the elements of this image. It's a beautiful image. I think that the judges here really had to make a cold call on whether or not there was enough of an idea or a concept behind it, because then at the end of the day what you get to is the quality of the execution. And so what is it that we do as artists? You know, this is a big question, because a lot of artists think that quality of production and, you know, photorealism, all those kind of things matter more than the idea. This is a debate that, you know, we could open and have for like hours and hours, but I guess the most artists would agree with the fact that, you know, the thing that you enjoy the most when looking at an artwork, it's also trying to understand the story behind it. And don't get me wrong, maybe there is a story also in this one. It's just not as evident or as direct as, say, in the work that you guys have done. But again, you know, this is a very subjective thing.
Yeah, it's hard to judge. Yeah,
it is. I'm trying to really justify the efforts of the judges, otherwise we're gonna start getting like death threats. Guys,
I think you did a great job, a really good job. I mean, it's hard to make decisions. I would have not been able to be that fast about it. And also, like, the top images that were selected are all images that did speak to me. And I do think they are amazing, and they did deserve the attention. So don't worry. Judges are doing a great job. No death threats from anyone.
Let me just get my camera back so that I turn my camera on. Whoops. What have I done?
You got your hair.
Oh, there I am. Guys, first of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's a little bit unfortunate that, you know, Patrick could not join us, but, you know, it was because of work reasons, so I'm very happy for him. I just want to ask you one more question before closing down this stream. For those who are thinking of like going into the next competition, what are some tips or tricks that you can give these guys? And, you know, like, it can be about production, it can be about workflow. Like, one of the tips that I've heard somebody giving was, don't think about it too much, get an idea, develop it, and go for it, because, you know, time is little and you should have fun. And, you know, if you leave those out of the equation, you know, time and the fact that you don't have a client that it's knocking on your door expecting to see progress, work in progress, then, you know, you don't have the stress of having to do something that you might not enjoy. But what about you guys? What is one of the recommendations that you might give people?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do without thinking. Like, don't think. Just open Max or open the Photoshop or start sketching. Because there's no rule or no I'll say no correct way, let's say.
Yeah, I agree.
For me also, I'm trying not to think, because if I'm thinking too much about the project or the personal, let's say, then it's not going well. I'm just experimenting. If it's going somewhere, it's nice. If not, then I'm keeping in the folders for a while. And after a few months, if I'm going back again, then it's nice. If not, it's just laying there.
Where projects die.
Yeah. We're grave of the project.
Dorka, what about you?
My advice would be that know that procrastinating is good. I heard a TED talk that really spoke to me that whenever you put something off because you feel that it's too much or too challenging or just too deep, because this COVID is too deep philosophically, if you have it at the back of your mind and like you don't even know, but you're processing it, you are processing it, and that procrastination is helping you to look at it from many angles and be more creative, and that can be really helpful, that gap, to give yourself time. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves that, oh, I read this challenge, I know all the rules, I have to come up with something good, and then you get this stage fright of like trying to come up with a creative idea like right now, which can be really, and then you don't come up with a creative idea and then you beat yourself up about it, and like, yeah, that's not a nice nice ways to start your day. So I would encourage everyone to just yeah, don't take it that seriously, and understand that whenever you think that you're not thinking about it, it's still there. So if you want to enter this challenge, if you want to do something with it, don't take it too serious and too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Let you have the time to process it, let you have time to be creative with it, and maybe just do something in the last 5 minutes. Maybe it will be something, maybe it won't, but you tried and you're there and people will react to it. So that's my piece.
Yeah.
I like that.
It
I
should
like
be.
that. And I want to say, again, thank you for taking the time and for talking about this stuff. Um, Let me just ask people from home if they have any questions for you. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. I think that you have been extremely generous with your time. Thanks for making it work, from two different sides of the planet. You had to wake up very early to do this. You had to put Kristina, you had to put your kids to bed in order to separate
Yeah, and
yourself
hiding in
from
the
them.
attic. Yeah.
Okay, Nigel has a very good question, which, if I were to answer it, I'll be like, very important. How important is having a sense of humor in imagery?
Very, 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 very important.
Yeah. If you succeed with that, it's yeah, very high goal. Yeah. But for me personally, I don't set this as a goal. It's about the process. But if you can do something very funny, then
Did you actually see the project, my entry for the Life After
I
Corona?
have it. Yeah,
Oh,
the Paper King. Yeah.
The Toilet Paper King.
yeah.
It was fun, and also like I got to work with Patrick, which is actually amazing because he's a machine. Like that guy is really a machine. Like it baffles me how hardworking certain people are, and that guy is really like a machine. And another question is, how important is empathy in images?
It is important when you're looking at them, trying to understand what they wanted to tell, I think. Because sometimes I know that in this field, the look what matters the most. But sometimes actually for me, the message overrides it. Like even if it would be an image that maybe is not best executed, that I think compositionally is a bit, not right there yet. But if the message is so strong, then the message won it, the idea won it. Because sometimes that all that matters. So that's why sense of humor is important. That's why not taking everything too seriously, it can be very important. So I don't know. I'd, yeah. Kristina, you're up.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah.
I think it's also like that's one of the things that empathy, it's also important on the side of the viewer, right? And sometimes people just don't care enough to give the right attention to the work that some of us do. And like I'm always very fascinated by people that care about the arts, because one of the traits that I've noticed, people that like art have is the fact that they are very sensitive people, very kind people in the way they pose themselves with others. Obviously, this is not the answer to the question how important is empathy in the images. It's just that, I guess if the time of Corona is a chance for us to start think and be a little bit more empathetic about everything around us, right? Because at the moment we're living in isolation, we don't get to see people, we don't get to see our parents, we don't get to see our friends. Let's not forget what happened to us during this time, because when we're gonna get out, if we are able to be a little bit more empathetic, if that's the word, this might be one way for us to make the world, through the way we behave as a society, a little bit of a better place. But then again, people tell me all the time that I'm a big dreamer and a big always positive guy. I don't know, maybe they're right. Okay. People are saying thank you. They want to thank you for all the insights. Great answers. I guess that everybody's happy. Thanks a lot, Akshay. Thanks a lot, Nigel. Thanks a lot to everybody who's been watching this. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the three of us. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
As you see, Kristina, I did not bite. Nothing to worry about. I really hope that I can have a chance to host you again on the channel, because your work, it's breathtaking. Same goes to you, Dorka. Such a talented people. I just want to thank you again for taking the time to talk to me. Thanks a lot for everybody from home. I Nuno, thanks a lot. I'm going to stop the stream. Guys, don't go anywhere so that I can say thank you one more time. Thanks a lot again, guys from home. I'm going to stop the stream.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Big
Thank
kisses.
you for listening to us.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.